Hey y'all, this is LaGina Rae, and I'm here with LaRae Infinity Media, and we are here at the H-Town Roundup, year number 2. And this is another one of my interviews with one of my friends that I interviewed last year. So you already know we're going to find out what's new, what's upcoming. I think we have like a great announcement of some great achievement. So we're going to dive into it, but I'll let you introduce yourself again first for anybody that's not following LaRae Infinity and our media journey, I would say, because last year we were production or audio. So we just keep moving into different iterations, much like all the businesses that you help.
I think I fully blacked out last time that we talked. I have no memory what I said, so who knows? But so hopefully this time I can be a little bit more present, feel more relaxed. Okay, so hi, I'm Liana Gonzalez.
Yes.
I work in the Wolf Center for Entrepreneurship. I'm the managing director of Red Labs, which is a summer accelerator program out of the University of Houston. And LaGina has mentored a ton with students at the university. She has one of the most coveted qualities of mentors, which is you're patient. You're patient, and you don't. And if they don't take your advice, you don't take it personally.
Yeah. I think that as a business owner in general, one of the hardest lessons that I had to learn was discernment of not listening to what everybody has to say.
Yeah.
Because you have, anywhere from 30 seconds to 5 minutes, if you're in a good mentoring or coaching session to explain everything about your business for somebody to give you advice. So sometimes the advice is going to come from a very narrow scope, So I love that I get to work with students when I'm working with you, because part of LaRae Infinity is, I talk about the amplification of women in the communities they work in. So boom, got that. And then the other side of it is I always like staying engaged with like youth and young adults because I just think it's so important. A lot of people don't know my educational background is higher ed. So that's where you come into play. I love what you're doing. I don't want to do the big announcement yet, but let's just talk about what Red Labs is and why it is so important to the Houston ecosystem in its totality. Because all day we talk about the tech. We've been talking about artists in tech. We've been talking about Latinos, representation, all of those things. But let's go back to the students, because there is a big push in Houston to make sure the students that are in the innovative spaces and ecosystems stay here once they graduate.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing about the University of Houston students is a lot of them are from Houston.
Yeah.
They're like commuters sometimes or live on campus, but grew up in Houston. And then a lot of them end up staying. So they are like really pivotal to the growth of the Houston network.
Yeah.
And then what was the second part of your question?
Just like
what's important about them?
Yeah, what's important about that, and why is that just a pivotal part of the ecosystem here?
Yeah, they're the funnel, right? Like
they're the funnel.
Yeah, they're the funnel. And I think a lot of what students is they just need the confidence and the exposure and kind of meeting the right people. So, I kind of think beyond like education and learning, like kind of having the opportunity to meet a network or meet a mentor that's not like employed by the university is super great for students. Like I'm really like, okay, great. You found somebody you connect with that you can ask their advice for, that if you see they list a job that you can then apply or whatever. So that's also another important aspect of engaging with the community as far as like a U of H person is like the more I engage with the community, the better the outcomes for students are and their like ability to want to stay in Houston, connect with the ecosystem and grow once they graduate and fly off and leave me.
You sound such like an educator. You're like, once they grow and leave me. I often remember my first class of freshmen when I was at Houston Tillotson University, and I'm still connected to some of them, but they're all adults now, and it's weird. So I love that. So Red Labs, what exactly is Red Labs doing right now? And, just to be clear, kind of talk about what Red Labs is, because if you are somebody that has no idea about the University the University of Houston, then you don't know why it's called Red Labs.
Okay. So anytime I go and talk to students, on campus about Red Labs. I have this like really great little graphic, and it's like a giant circle, the University of Houston, and then inside the giant circle, Bauer College of Business, and then inside the Bauer College of Business is the Wolf Center for Entrepreneurship, and inside the Wolf Center for Entrepreneurship is Red Lab. So like basically, the Wolf Center was set up to like encourage entrepreneurship on campus. If you see the kids in the jackets, they are majoring in entrepreneurship. They are part of the cohort program, but beyond the cohort program, the Wolf Center does a lot of outreach across the campus for programming for students, classes, programming events that are interested in entrepreneurship that maybe aren't majoring in entrepreneurship or even minoring in entrepreneurship. They're just interested. Like really the university wants to push innovation and entrepreneurship like across the university. So that's kind of like what I do. So my biggest thing is I run a summer accelerator program called Red Labs. So that's it. But for a while, kind of everything run under my office or like email, I guess, really office email was branded Red Labs. Now we've kind of moved to like everything is the Wolf Center, and then Red Labs is the summer program. So that's kind of,
makes sense. I love how they got the visual. We were going with it. So Red Labs is the nucleus. There we go.
Yes. Or the Pluto. I don't know.
The Pluto
on the fringe of the solar system.
So much with that. I love it. But I've had so much fun mentoring through Red Labs. But there's also another program that you run that is when you were talking about the University of Houston wanting to spread entrepreneurialism across the whole university, I think this plays a pivotal role in it. So there's the impact competition. So talk a little bit about that. And you don't have to be business specific, but kind of what it does and what's the purpose.
Sure. Okay. So this is another instance of like circles within circles. So the impact competition is actually like a nonprofit of its own that was started by this guy, Lance. I can't remember his last name. It starts with a B. Sorry, Lance.
Hi, Lance.
And anyway, so he started this nonprofit to try and encourage like social entrepreneurship on campuses. And so he slowly has expanded to universities across the U.S. And so luckily, like kind of he got a hold of us in our office, and it's a really cool event. Basically, like the impact competition gives us money to run this event on our campus, and we ask students to solve a problem that a local nonprofit faces. So we select a nonprofit, the students read the case study, I record a podcast talking to the nonprofit, and then they pitch an innovative idea. And then the top ones get selected, and the very top one actually gets to then go and implement their idea. So the nonprofit is given the impact competition, the nonprofit gives the nonprofit that we've chosen $10,000 to then implement the idea that the students came up with, and then they work hand in hand to actually implement it. So it's really cool. This is the second year we've done it. Last year we were with the food bank. So actually their big thing that they're going to implement as part of their plan that they pitched last year is going to, I think, happen in April of this year.
Nice.
And then this year, I was just saying, our finalists are pitching. We're working with Workshop Houston. LaGina helped one of the finalists come up with an incredible pitch. I think that, it was really good. So
it was
good
theirs.
job.
We just
modified
it and cleaned it up, right?
But that's usually all you need with students. They need like a little like, this doesn't look right to like non-students.
Yeah. Clean it up.
Yeah.
Like, it's really easy. And, I think that what I've learned even from having my own businesses and having mentors to now being a mentor, a coach, small business coach is like kind of what we were talking about at the beginning. Like, don't take it so personal. Like, I don't personally think businesses are babies, but when you're thinking about it, you only need the nucleus of the idea. Everything else can move around and shape and bend because you have to speak to the audience and all of that kind of stuff. So they did it on their own. They were just so receptive. And were also receptive to me. I'm like, hey, in order not to waste time, I'm just going to be very direct with you. And he was like, great. And he just opened his laptop and, every now and then he'd push back and I'd be like, okay, so you don't need that. Let's do this. And it was a really effective and great conversation.
Yeah, it is. That's so hard. And I think people too, you can tell when you're speaking to somebody, obviously, that they don't like your feedback.
Yep.
And sometimes, like, I give feedback all the time that ends up being wrong. And so just being like, oh, okay, that actually maybe wasn't the best idea. You should try something else. Being okay with finding out that your feedback was not good can also be difficult. But I'm really just encouraging the students to do it themselves. Like, they are so capable. They are they are adults technically, and they're capable of so much. Like there's something about like when you're that age and you're in school, like kind of the sky's the limit, and like really tapping into that and encouraging them to like, yeah, go figure it out. Like you can do it. You have everything you need.
Yep.
You don't need me. Like, but I'll be your cheerleader.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
We'll stand there.
Yeah.
You need. I love that part of it. So that is what you do. How does Red Labs and that impact competition that you facilitate become this really viable part of the Houston ecosystem? And I know I kind of asked that question, but I even think about the fact that you make sure to reach out to entrepreneurs and directors of programs like G Beta and make sure that we get our butts in seats and mentor those students. I love that part of it. But where do you feel like the strength of the program is?
Well, like I kind of mentioned, obviously, like you go to school to get an education, but there's obviously like a back half, like you will graduate. And to me, it is so important to build out your professional network. And part of that is like meeting your peers in school. Yeah. And the other part is like figuring out who's in the space. And so anytime I can kind of like put somebody from the real world in front of students to kind of give them a different perspective. I think, students too, they're generally younger. So like with age comes wisdom. Sometimes meeting somebody that's like been through it, retired or whatever, has like a great perspective that can benefit students a lot. So yeah, I think, and then just letting them be aware, like there's so many cool things here in Houston. And so, yeah, like sometimes students, like I run the summer accelerator program, but it's full time and it's over the summer. So sometimes we have students that have like a job or an internship that they just don't want to say no to, or it's the wrong fit or whatever. And so being able to say like, hey, maybe you should consider something in the community, like a G Beta program. That's such a great option for them. Yeah. That they may not know because they're like stuck on campus and they don't know what's out there. Bubble. Yeah, they're in a little bubble. So just like what else is out there is and exposing them to that is it's cool. And yeah, I mean, I like chatting with people, so I guess that works out. Yeah. Then I get to chat with more people and meet people to come and speak to students.
Yeah, and so when you're talking about the sphere, we're going to open back up, and you have an announcement that you want to share because that's part of, I think, something that you and your program and your people contribute to. So, what's going on over there?
Well, are you talking about that we were number one again?
Oh
yeah. I think just in case people forgot, the Wolf Center. It's been really cool to work there because I think we're a small team. Like I think it's like 5 staff members.
There was like 15 or 20.
There's 5 staff members and. It's really cool. Like I've been on working there for like 5 years, and it's just like all about. It's so student focused. It's such like a positive environment. Like I think sometimes I think about universities as being really bureaucratic, and it's just like such a cool opportunity to work in a space that's with the university, but like everyone's excited and they want. Yeah, we want to be number one. We love it. Like what can we do to take this to the next level? Yeah. So yeah, I mean. I'm sure this is like kind of been talked about too, is like I'm so excited for the innovation building that's going up in a couple years. I think it's going to bring like so many incredible opportunities for students, and I can't wait for the community to engage. And so there's tons of cool stuff going on at U of H. And yeah, I was like, what exciting announcement do I have?
That you're like, oh, that one.
But also I'm always looking for mentors to come and help me over the summer. So something that's changed over the last couple years is we've accepted small businesses, which is great. So we used to only be a technology-focused accelerator, and we've kind of come to realize that that's not always what's like. Students also have businesses that are unfocused on technology, and they want to like accelerate those as well. So we've really expanded kind of the scope of what our project is, but or what our program is. But that means like we don't quite have as many mentors in the small business space. So if anyone is interested in mentoring students, we're looking for like service-based business people, always social media. Like it's such a weird and difficult space. Like, it's just like, and it's kind of depends on what you're doing and what you want to do. Anyways. And we get a lot of students that are working on like handmade crafts-based arts business. And so any kind of mentors in that space that would be interested in volunteering their time and feeling humbled.
Interesting. We need to connect you. We interviewed her today as well, but Connie Leon, if you don't know her, I think she'd be a great person. She does a lot of stuff in the makerspace. Actually, she has makerspace within WHI,
I love
West
it.
Houston Institute. So
Okay.
y'all
Yeah,
see
yeah,
how
yeah.
this ecosystem works
Yeah.
here in Houston. And I love that we're having these
I know.
conversations at H-Town Roundup about this, because it all ties in together. So now you're seeing this picture of people that started and now they're scaling and moving out and growing and hiring chief AI officers. That's a thing now. And then you see the people that are growing and amplifying and making sure that people at the universities and the students are becoming these adults that want to stay and are already connected into the ecosystem. So I really appreciate the valuable piece, sometimes the underlying piece that people don't see in the journey and how you're playing in the Houston ecosystem. And I appreciate you being year 2, on this special edition podcast. And y'all know how it goes. My name is LaGina Rae. This is LaRae Infinity Media. And as you are contributing to whatever ecosystem you're a part of, be kind to yourself, respect the journey, and as always, tell your story, be your own brand, live your truth, and stand in your moment. All right, until next time, peace.